Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I just got home. I waited like all day for this to get into my mailbox, and I had to go somewhere at, I think we left at like 4:30, and it was out for delivery all day. I was waiting. I went and ran a couple errands. I jetted back because I've been really excited to open this knife, and yeah, we had a hard out at like 4:30. We had to leave, and 20 minutes later, I got the delivery notification that this was here, and then it is now 12:53 p.m. as I'm shooting this. 12:53 a.m. Is that how that works? Anyways, it's late. Time doesn't make sense to me anymore, but I'm finally ready to open this. This is a GiantMouse knife. And I have a history with GiantMouse knives. I've owned a couple of them now. I think I've owned 3 before this one. The first GiantMouse knife that I ever got was the GiantMouse GM2, which was really cool. It's like a Bowie clip point shaped blade, nice rounded spine, really well done jimping. It was carbon fiber that was fluted, milled, kind of like this actually. And it had a internal liner on one side. The liner lock had like a really cool way of mounting too, and it was great. It's a flipper with the kind of hole so I could spidey flick it. But as much as I really liked that knife for so many reasons, the detent was just not right on it for it being a flipper. I've seen some people do flipper deletes on them, and I think, frankly, if I had done that, I'd probably still own that knife to this day. I adored that knife. It was so good for so many reasons, but the flipper, it was just like literally half the time if I would go to flip it, the blade wouldn't even deploy all the way. It was a really soft detent, and when I was flicking it, it was fine because I could give it more momentum than I could with the flipper. But anyway, I let go of that knife. That was a long time ago now. Probably 2 years ago that I let go of that knife. And so after that, I had decided to give the Ace Biblio a try because I liked the design of it and I had heard so many good things. And then I got one and I had it out of the box for like, I don't know, 5 minutes, and I flicked it a couple of times, and the detent on that one just wasn't right. I didn't like the action on it. It's possible I could have played with the pivot, but it wasn't like it seemed over tightened, and it seemed like it was the detent itself. And so I put it right back in the box, and it was one of the Micarta ones. I got it on a drop, and a lot of people were looking for them. So I just resold it for exactly what I bought it for, plus the shipping, and someone else was happy who had missed out on the drop that they were able to get one brand new in box. So I sent that one right along. And then when they came out with the Iona, that was the third one I tried. And the first run of the Iona, when they very first launched, just had the plastic scales. I know now they do some in like aluminum and stuff. And when I got it, I had recently gotten my first bug out, I think. Maybe I'd had it for a while, but in my head, when I saw this knife being an M390, weighing as little as it did, being the profile it was, blade length it was, I was like, oh, this is real kind of competition for the bug out. This might finally kind of be a bug out killer. And so I got it, and I think I ordered it from Blade HQ. Anyway, it came out of the box, and as far as I know, the example that I got was what it was supposed to be. The centering was right, the action seemed okay, but the access to the lock bar on it, I hated it. I don't know, part of it might have been that I was kind of looking for there to be a flaw in it because my previous 2 GiantMouse knives had some kind of issue that just made them not work for me. But what's weird is I know so many people who have loved GiantMouse knives, especially the actual GiantMouses, not the Ace line, but also plenty of people who love the Ace line, especially the Biblio. I see so many people rave about that knife as being one of their like top choices for EDC. And so I've always liked their designs, at least most of them, and the ones that I've handled other than the Iona, that one I really didn't quite enjoy for like, just like nothing about that knife really spoke to me. I let go of that immediately. I think I actually just plain put it back in the box and returned that one. I didn't even want to deal with it. But other than that, like, the designs have always been intriguing to me. I like the way they put their jimping for their forward on the blade, that they round the spines. I typically really like the ergos because both of those designers are really good at making knives that ergonomically work for my hands. And so I've wanted to find a GiantMouse that I could just like really get behind and keep and enjoy for a long time. And so I'm hoping, with all of that said, that this one finally is that for me. I know I've heard recently on some of their knives, I don't know all of their model names or anything like that, and it's super late, so my recollection is going to be terrible, but I feel like I've heard recently that some of their Ace models, and maybe even the GM5 or the GM6, I could be crazy, but I think some of their more recent work has actually been built by Riat. And so I've heard very good things about those knives, which have been built by Riat. All of the ones that I've owned have been from whichever Italian factory they use. I don't know if it's Viper or Lion Steel. I don't remember. Anyway, I bought this one thinking it was one of the Riat made ones because I had heard that they were using Riat lately. And then after I ordered it, I got it on the drop. The morning it came out, I had seen that it was coming after I watched, I think it was Slicey Dicey's video, and he said that it comes from Italy. So I'm hoping that their Italy manufacturer has detents a little more dialed in these days than the Biblio I've had and the GM2 I had. We will see. But also, this one's not a flipper. This is the Grand. I'm just going to cut into it now. I don't know why I'm still talking and haven't opened this up with how excited I've been to get into this all day. But this is the new Grand, and it's part of the Ace line. This was, I think with shipping, I might have paid like right at 200 bucks, but it was like 185, something like that. And it's green micarta. It's actually a fairly large knife. It's, from what I understand, the same dimensionally as the GM5, which is a design that I really like, but it's green micarta with Elmax Blade Steel, no flipper, hole only for deployment. Holes are greater than studs. You know I'm all about that. And it's got a wire pocket clip. And so everything on paper about this knife, its size, its weight, its dimensions, the materials used, are things that are kind of right up my alley. So assuming that this example comes out of the box centered fairly well, with a detent that functions the way I feel a detent should function, i.e. not mushy or too soft, that I can deploy the knife reliably and it locks up solid. If it comes out without issue, being what in my head a pocket knife should be, especially at this price range, then I'm going to love this knife. So we have kind of a moment of truth thing about to happen here. And I'm kind of determined, frankly, if I don't like this GiantMouse, I hate to be that guy and like just take a stance. And I'm not against them as a company. I think with how many good things I've heard, I have to just kind of be like, either those people who are liking them enjoy knives for different reasons than I do, or maybe I'm getting examples that happen to just be lighter on the detents or something. I don't know. But if I don't love this one, the only chance that I'll try another GiantMouse knife is going to be if it's one that's manufactured by Riat. Because if I get another one that's manufactured in Italy and it doesn't click with me, then I mean, if I'm 0 for 4, I've got to call it quits at some point. It's just such a shame because I really want to love all of their knives, seemingly, that come out. But let's find out if this one can break the spell. There's a card in here too. What's it say? Just the GiantMouse Knives card. Congratulations on your purchase of a GiantMouse knife. Congratulations for giving us money. That's kind of funny. I don't know if I'm just delirious. I find the way that's worded a little bit hilarious. Congratulations on your purchase. All right. So, first things first, centering looks spot on. That is good centering. I dig that. There's no flipper tab. That's a win. We've got the typical for GiantMouse, rounded spine, jimping far forward on it, which I adore, and we'll get to that. The way that this sits in the scales, it looks like it's nested properly. The micarta itself feels really good. It's got this really nice contouring to it. The edges are all smooth. The back spacer has this little touch of jimping and kind of an integrated lanyard hole, which is out of the way of everything, so I'm not against that. We've got a nice wire pocket clip that comes all the way to the very butt of the knife. That is how a wire clip should be positioned. So things are looking good so far. Let's see how it deploys. Okay, we have liftoff. It deploys properly. Oh, that feels really good in hand. Oh, that feels really, really good in hand. Okay, I see a little, there's like a smudge of something right on my edge. No, that's just probably from the packaging. The edge itself feels really sharp to me. It's ground, I wouldn't call it thin or thick, frankly. It feels similar. I'd have to put it side by side, but I feel like this feels about kind of like my Shaman in thickness, which is funny because even like as soon as I saw this knife, I thought this would be a good kind of companion or competitor even to the Shaman based on its size and dimensions and the materials even. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, I think, get behind this. We will see. This isn't gonna be my real first impressions. This is a first inspection, but this was probably the most important first inspection that you guys have witnessed here, because on the first inspection, 2 previous GiantMouse knives that I have bought have gone right back into the box to either be resold or returned. So passing the first inspection is very important here. This action is, so A, the middle finger flick is fantastic. That's what a middle finger flick should be on a knife. I dig that. See how it thumb flicks, although I imagine how, oh, that's great with a thumb flick too. Okay, yeah, this is sweet. This is really, really good. It is way too late for me to keep track of my thoughts. I apologize, I've probably already been incoherent and weird on this video so far, and I have another unboxing to shoot right after I do this. It is gonna be one of those nights, but okay, this is good. This is really good. So there's gonna be a first impressions coming soon on this, but the first inspection, flying colors. This, I can already definitively say, without having this in pocket, without carrying this, cutting with this, I can definitively say this is the best GiantMouse that I have ever tried. For sure. It's just the other ones were not fair to the brand. For all the things that I've heard, the other examples I have tried were not good. And this, right out of the box, seems like it's done well. I had heard that the action wasn't very drop shutty, and it's not like guillotine. Obviously, I've got to kind of give it a little shake and coax it down the whole way, but it's very smooth. And that's, I mean, if I give it any wrist at all, really, it's coming all the way down. Yeah, centering's good. I adore a rounded spine. If you haven't heard me say that before, anytime I've reviewed a knife that has one, I feel like I mention it, but not enough knives have it. Why do more people not just round spines on knives? I don't understand. I feel like it can't be that difficult to accomplish. And I don't know anybody who doesn't like it. I get its place on like a survival fixed blade that you're gonna be striking a fire steel with, etc. But on a folding knife, I feel like it adds so much comfort and you don't lose any like usability by not having it just be like flat there. Rounding it makes it feel so much more finished to me and so much nicer. And it's just, it seems like it's such a small step. GiantMouse even rounds like all of the edges that would typically be harsh. Everything is so much smoother than it would be if they just cornered it off. And it feels so much more finished to me that way. I also really like Elmax steel. I only own one other knife right now, an Elmax Steel. I've only had a couple ever, but my ZT 0620 is my only Elmax knife right now, and I really like Elmax as a steel. It's not like my absolute favorite steel ever, but it's a steel that excites me. And so the fact that this came with OD Green Micarta, Elmax, wire clip, nice titanium back spacer, liner lock, it's a really great setup. All right, be on the lookout for my first impressions on this guy. It will be coming soon, and I'm excited. This is gonna be in pocket all day tomorrow while I begin figuring it out, and then hopefully either by tomorrow afternoon, evening, if not, then the next morning, which is actually my birthday. Maybe I'll film it on my birthday. I'll be doing a first impressions for you. So anyway, this is the brand new GiantMouse Ace Grand. So it's one of their production knives. I know that with this initial launch, they sold out that morning. So if you missed that initial launch and you're looking for one, it's probably going to be a little while until they restock on them. I know that they were sold, like I bought mine through the GiantMouse website and also through Blade HQ. When I checked, they were sold out on both. And so I don't know when or where they will come back first, but with the Ace ones, they are production, so they will be making more. In the meantime, if you're in a big rush to get one, your only hope is probably the secondary, but that kind of is what it is on knives like these. And it makes it fun to feel like you got one on the drop too. I always enjoy that. I know some people hate launches like that, but I think it's fun that there's a scramble to get them, and then it feels like I don't know, you found the treasure when you get one and check out with it, and then it shows up. So it was a long day waiting for this one, but it's here. And yeah, plenty more to come. So stay tuned on this guy. It is the GiantMouse Ace Grand, and it is pretty great on first inspection.